I'm wearing the same sweater as last time, but I don't care anymore. Hi guys, welcome back to another video from me, and this video is actually going to be a weekly reading wrap up for the last week. I was in goal and planned to read one more book so that I could read 5 books in last week. I was a little bit busy with all my Christmas celebrations and also plans that I had on the weekend, and plus I was just busy and tired, so I didn't have time to read my 5th book. But you know what? I think reading 4 books in 1 week is actually a pretty good, decent amount of reading as well, and I read a lot of great reads that I want to share with you guys. And I also read some reads that were not so great and I would have you guys avoid. So let's get started. So the first book that I picked up is from Lindsay Sands called My Favorite Things, and this is a Christmas collection. So there's actually 3 short novellas inside this thick baby mama, and if you guys are not into historical romance, I definitely suggest you to try your way to get into it, because you're missing out on a very great genre that has a lot of like sexy times, and it has a lot of like slow romantic build-up, sexy times, and even occasionally some danger times where the hero has to save the girl or where the girl stands up to the guy, and there's like a lot of fun stuff to do with it. But enough about me talking about historical romances and why you should read them. This one I didn't quite enjoy. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars because the first novel, called All I Want, was pretty cute. It happened really quickly, like the things were speeding up very quickly because the story is very short. So they fell in love, like kind of like instant love, and that's just kind of like, but you know what? I kind of gave it 2 out of 5 stars because that one saved the day. So there's another one called Three French Hens, and now this one I did not like one bit. Now this one's story is about Brina, and Brina is a maid, and for some reason she looks exactly alike to this girl who is a lady, and she is rich, she's from the high upper class, compared to her, who is a maid who's been working her whole entire life, who doesn't even have like money to her name. And then they hatch a plan where she pretends to be the lady so that she can take the lady's place in this courting session, because the lady doesn't want to marry the duke, because she's like, I don't want to be tied down to this man who only cares about saving his city and using my dowry to save the city, because I want to live my own life. So then so she's bored of him, so she lets the maid take her place. And then what do you know, Brina falls in love with the duke, and the duke falls in love with Brina. But then when the wedding ceremony comes and happens, she can't lie to him because she's not the lady, she doesn't have a dowry. So she like spills her guts and she tells everybody that she is not who they think she is, and she actually doesn't have a dowry. And now here's the moment where our duke should go, you know what, I don't care about the money, I will marry you anyways. Now he gets mad, as one do, which is respected because he's been lied to this whole entire relationship. So I give him props to that. But then he goes,
I can't marry you because you don't have money.
and then she's like, oh. So then she's like, this is awkward, let me just run away from everyone. And then secrets are exposed. The father of the lady is also the father of Brina, but like Brina's mother just hid away the child from the father. And then the father was like, I actually loved your mother the most, but I had to marry your mother's little sister so that I could live on with my life and be a landowner or like whatever. And but I loved your mother, and I'm so sorry I couldn't be a great father to you, and like all this jazz and all this crap. So this is like a really bad synopsis already, but she runs away, and then he's like, well, shit, like now I can't marry anybody, now I can't save my town. And the father's like, if you love my daughter, if you love my daughter so much, I'll give you the money. And then he's like, oh damn. So he runs after her after getting the money. And I'm like, okay, well, like this like relationship is kind of like dumb, because you wouldn't marry her because she didn't have money, but even though you loved her. And I was like, yeah, so I didn't really like this novel. And then after that one, like the last one, I just couldn't even get myself to finish it and couldn't even get myself to read it. So I highly do not recommend you to read this novel. I think it's a waste of your time, and I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Goodbye and forever. So the next book that I picked up is actually a YA graphic novel, and I didn't know that YA graphic novels come in arcs, but this one is actually an arc sent to me from HBG Canada, so hashtag book group. And I can tell that this is an arc because, first of all, some of the drawings aren't complete, and it gets really confusing a lot of times to actually know what the story is going along when the drawings aren't complete, because you kind of miss a lot of details, but like, you know, the words are still there, so you kind of know what the plot is going at and you know the story. But anyways, this one was a thrill. It was enjoyable and I loved it, even though it was like one of my very few graphic novels that I read this year. I'm actually not too keen on graphic novels. I don't read a lot of them, simply because, I don't know, like my brain doesn't work that way. Like I need more words than just dialogue sometimes. So that's why I'm very hesitant about reading graphic novels. But this was offered to me and I was like, you know what? I'll try it. So it's about two brothers. Yes, two brothers, even though you see a brother just as a girl and a brother just as a brother, like a man. So it's about two brothers who are from this magical kingdom and their whole family is slaughtered, and now they run away because they don't want to get killed as well. Like it's getting overtaken, their kingdom's getting overtaken, so they hide themselves into this like magical tribe that is just for girls. So they have to blend in, so they dress as girls to blend in into this tribe. And then that's when one of the brothers realizes that he himself belongs as a girl, and he feels that he was born in the wrong body because he believes he is a girl. So there is that representation. Come on guys, like, you know, like that's so amazing to see, and I really enjoyed it, and it was very thrilling. Like there was like a lot of action going on, there was a lot of fight scenes, there was a lot of magical power usage, there was like a lot of finding yourself, and there was like dramatic things that were happening that like actually made me tear up. And I really recommend you to read this very diverse novel. This one comes out in January 2020. So the next novel that I read was Meet Me on Love Lane by Nina Boshi. And now this book was given to me from a friend or a category manager at Chapters Indigo. So she receives a lot of ARCs and she was giving away the ARCs because she doesn't have enough shelf space. So she's like, anybody want this? And I'm like, hell yes, I want this. So Nina Bochi actually wrote this other book called On the Corner of Love and Hate. And I saw that on Instagram. And if you guys know how it looks like, it's like basically blue skies, white fences. I'll put up a picture here so you guys know what it looks like. And I saw it and I thought it was super cute. And lots of people were probably like, oh, it doesn't really look that cute. Like, why are you saying it's cute? I don't know. Like my different standards of cute for covers is different. Like I take anything that like resembles a little bit cuteness, and I tried to request for that book, but they didn't have any arcs of that one, so I was kind of disappointed. But this one is the second one in the series, and I actually finished this book and immediately bought that one because I really love this book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This one is just so cute. Like it's a small town romance, so it's about a girl named Charlotte Bishop, and Charlotte Bishop was this really great florist in New York City. She was doing really well for herself. She was making these huge arrangements for a lot of hotels, a lot of her society weddings, and like a lot of like big things, and she was on the right track. But then all of a sudden she lost it all, and now she has to return back to her small town of Hope Lake in PA to lick her wounds. So then she bumps into the boy that she was best friends with growing up, and she completely forgot it. Like she wiped it all out because she had a lot of trauma growing up, and her mom was not the best mom. Her mom always like told her a lot of lies and like kept her away from a lot of people when she was growing up in the neighborhood. And then she kind of like forgot a lot of the stuff that was happening. So she meets this man who is a English teacher, or like an elementary school teacher, but then he also does like a lot of English like programs in the community, and it's very cute. And he's really good looking, but then he also claims that he was her childhood best friend, but she has no memory of it. Like she blocked it all. And then all of a sudden she also likes this doctor who just moved into town, and they're like having like this like date thing going on. So it's kind of like a love triangle, and I really like the story, and I think you guys would really enjoy this too if you guys are into small town romances, because I am, and I was a huge fan of this. I thought it was super sweet. That was really well done. I thought it was written very well, and I think you guys should pick up this book and check out her series. So the last book that I picked up and read is from my queen, Jenny Holiday, and it's Mermaid Inn, and this book comes out in January 2020. I don't know never mind. So the official release date is January 28th, 2020. And if you guys are new to my channel or new to my Instagram, you guys wouldn't know that I am a huge fan of Jenny Holiday. So hi, hello there. I love Jenny Holiday. Me and her actually met up in Toronto when she was here for a conference, and she was so sweet, she was so nice, and she was so funny. And honestly, like, I don't treat our friendship as like, you know, like a friend and like a reader and author relationship. I just treat it as like we're just buds, and she writes stories and I read her stories, and I always am honest with my reviews. Like I'm never going to just like fluff up a review just because she's my friend or she's a nice person, and she doesn't have that expectation for me as well. Like she doesn't think that, like she always tells me, you know, be honest with your reviews, and if you actually don't like it, just tell people you don't like it. I don't really care. But like, you know, we have the rule where you don't tag the author in a bad review because that's just hurtful and that's just mean and that's unnecessary. But this one I can honestly say it's 4 out of 5 stars. Very solid, very good read, and I really recommend anybody to read it if you guys are in the mood for another small town romance. Now this one takes place in the summer, and I don't know why it's being released in January 2020 because it made me want like the sun, the hot weather, the blue skies, and not the slush, the white snow, and the cold -30-degree weather I'm currently experiencing right now. But this one is about a girl named Eve. Eve is from a small town. Well, she actually grew up in the city, I think, and then she'll always visit to the small town during her summer, I believe, and then while she was growing up as a child. So she made a lot of good friends there, and particularly she made her best friend there, which is a guy named Sawyer. And they grew up together, they had a lot of fun together, and they eventually started dating each other because they really liked each other and they actually fell in love, and it was like that like lovely intense teenage love until one day something happened that made her run out of town, and she was like, I can't do this anymore, I can't return back to Matchmaker Bay, which is like the small town's called. And she goes off into the city in Toronto and she makes a life for herself. She becomes a librarian. She goes to Paris for placements. She goes to like the biggest universities in Toronto, and she does really good at her job until her grandmother passes away. And the will says that she has to take ownership of Mermaid Inn. Her grandmother's like, you know, like bed breakfast hotel thing kind of thing. So she's like, okay, well, like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to go back to Matchmaker Bay to take care of this inn and to bump into everybody I know, that everybody knew all my secrets and knew all my drama. So she has to like adjust to the new lifestyle. And while she tries to renovate Mermaid Inn so that she could sell it and put it on the market, the will actually states she has to own the inn for a year before she can sell it. And then using that year, she gets closer with all her friends that she said goodbye to when she fled Matchmaker Bay. And also she keeps running into her best friend, or her ex-best friend, and her ex, the chief of police, Sawyer Collins. And it's very cute. It was very cute. Like, it was so cute to the point that I felt like I was gonna get cavities, and I was just like cringing because it's just so cute. Like, I was like, why are people so cute? And I felt like the emotions, because this is a second chance romance, I felt the emotions were very strong and very impactful. Like, it hit me to the core, and it made me feel like actual pain in the chest from reading how like these two people were so in love, but then they fell apart and they broke up, and then now they have to see each other when one person hates the other person, and then the other person's still like longing for that person. Like, it just was so intense like that. If you guys are scared or worried that small town romances aren't as like hot and steamy as like, you know, like other romances that I've picked up, or other romances you yourself have picked up, this one, I wouldn't say like on a hot chili pepper scale that this one's like the hottest novel that you read, but this one's definitely not tamed at all. Like, I was shocked. Like, I was stunned. Like, when I read a couple of lines in this book, it was dirty. Like, it was my first time reading a novel from Jenny Holiday that had like a few dirty lines in it. And I was like, girl needs to write more, because that was really good. And I really recommend you this book, even though I've been rambling for a very long time. So definitely check out this novel. Can't recommend it enough. So that is it for all the books that I have read this week. And if you guys have any comments on any of the books that I read that you thought, you know, you might like, or you read yourself and we have differences of opinions, I always welcome you to comment in the comments below and to tell me your points of views and your thoughts on the books as well. And also follow me on Goodreads, because that's where I update a lot of my reviews on, where I actually like flush out more of like how I feel about the books. Although lately I've been like very lazy with Goodreads and actually not updating it as much as I should. And I've recently added back all the books I have read, but I haven't added into my Goodreads, and I officially reached 260 something books this year, which is pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself. I want to see if I could get to like 275 by the time the year ends, but no worries, I'm not going to push myself to read because that's not the person I am. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Can't let you go. I can't let you go, no. Betcha. 우리는 명절 I'm gonna get you.